Welcome to Singled Out, your 9th best gaming podcast. Please stand by.
Welcome to episode 116. In this episode, Andrew and Steve talk about their first few Infinity games in N4, how they found playing their factions, and how much or little they have learned about the game. This episode is recorded in mono for your enjoyment.
Dungeon crawler called Purple Realms. We go with that?
Do you have to wear sort of velvet?
I think you could be any member of the new power generation. Like,
is it linked to only pop singers that are quite litigious?
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, we're not stealing his IP, are we?
I'm kind of thinking one based upon your romantics. I want kind of Spandau Ballet to be involved in it.
Okay, what, like a Spandau Ballet quest game?
Well, also you could call it Gold, which is perfect for dungeon crawling.
That's pretty good. Yeah, Gold, the Spandau Ballet, and you could because then you can reference the Craze film that the two leads from Spandau Ballet were in, weren't
exactly,
they? Yeah.
Perfect. That's got a lot of legs, that has.
Yeah, that'll work well. So Gold, a Spandau Ballet dungeon crawler. Yeah, that's quite good. What about? I think we need some sort of tabletop, sort of mass battle tabletop game. I would say you want to go with a snooker-themed tabletop battles game. Where everyone is a named character. So you have like everyone who's ever played snooker, and then obviously the mat just looks like a snooker table, but they're all lined up as miniature versions of each other.
I was more thinking have basically in it as a special character a very racist Jim Davidson just going around.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other version of Jim Davidson.
That's pretty true.
Yeah. Or you could have a Keith Floyd. Do you remember the chef Keith Floyd? You could have a Keith Floyd themed Morpog called World of Winecraft.
That's very good.
Yeah. So we're going for that.
It's basically part drinking game, part cry for help.
Yeah. It's, I mean, how we build on now. Now the Finnegan's Wake RPG's out there and we're rich. It's how we build on the success of that.
I mean, apparently that RPG pitch has been responsible for breaking up several marriages, and they're coming to wear headphones by some listeners.
Oh yeah, that's true. One of our listeners who will remain nameless was forced to wear headphones during the last podcast because his spouse didn't want to hear about the Finnegan's Wake RPG.
I'm surprised his spouse wanted to hear about the podcast at all. Really,
I was amazed that anyone was listening to this with their partner. Like,
listener,
if you and your partner or child or whoever, if you listen to this in company, let us know, because this doesn't feel like
Well, one of the reasons I don't swear is that I remember when I was listening to some other podcasts 2 years ago, they were saying they listened to it in the car with their kids in the back, and I thought, yeah, fair play, not swearing is fair enough. But with your partner, like if sitting there in bed, sort of Bertie Ernie style, with your sort of your partner listening to Singled Out, fair play to you, really.
Yeah, it's strong. It's greater commitment than I've ever shown to this podcast, I think.
I should listen to it.
The idea of trying to convince my wife to listen to it is... that's it.
Yeah, I think I've recorded, over 200 of these now, and I don't think my wife's heard a single minute of it. And that's probably good to say that about it for a while.
That seems reasonable. What have you been doing recently? What's going on hobby-wise?
This is episode 116 of Singled Out. It's been Infinity, isn't it? It's all been sort of Infinity based for me. I've played, I can't remember how many games now. 4 games in 2 weeks, I think. 3 in real life. Was it 2 in real life? I forget now. And one on TTS. Because I played some in real life, and then the person I'm playing with in real life, then obviously they're getting more spooked by all the lockdowns again. So I'm playing electronically, which is just fair enough, really. I think.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
I mean, I've read in the news today that Nottingham has been now judged to be the 6th worst place in the country.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so hopefully by the Friday we'll get to number 5.
Oh, I missed the joke there as well when you said I read in the news today. I should have said, "Oh boy." So, can we just start the whole episode again?
Yeah,
I think it's done. Yeah, I think that's understandable then if they.
But actually, on TTS it works very well. It's pretty good.
It's not bad actually, is it? I played on TTS at like the height of lockdown, like the first game I ever played of it, and it was not bad because the movement's not super clean anyway.
Yeah, it's okay. Like you can sort of hold tab and sort of move the model from where they are.
I mean, even the actual tabletop movement it's not proxy bases and stuff.
Well, I guess from previous games we used to templates and widgets, and Infinity doesn't have that as much. And I think Infinity works kind of in sort of agreement with your opponent anyway, to some degree, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels very like sporting in that sense.
Well,
it's sort of like
I hope it is.
Yeah. Or at least so far it's felt like it's a lot of intent. It's like a lot by intent, isn't it?
Yeah, like can you see me here?
Yeah. I mean, I think anything with true line of sight, you're either going to have a ruck every game, or you just have to do it on trust, essentially.
It's interesting because obviously me and you getting into Infinity, and I played a bit at N3, but not really very much beyond the sort of starter boxes. And so it's interesting reading fans' reactions to N4 because it's kind of like I'm looking into a community rather than looking out because I haven't really been heavily invested into it until recently. So it's interesting seeing fans raging about it, and you get that in any game whenever something changes, either when 40k changes or when Warhammer changed from AOS or anything, any sort of game.
Oh, like every time we change something in Epic, being the person making the changes, we get accused of power creep. Yeah,
so it's interesting reading all the rage about how Vintage changed and some people who don't like it. But to me, looking at N3 and N4, as a person who played probably about 10 games of N3 total, I think N4 is really good.
There's absolutely no way I would ever have played N3. Like, you just, and obviously there's a timing thing with, Guild Ball going and that coming, but one of the reasons for playing N4 is like N4 feels like enough rules and enough level of complexity.
Yeah, and I like how
and enough gotchas
stuff, because cover used to be like only worked if you had a third of your model, 33% of your model covered up,
which is fine. That's really easy to measure, right?
Yeah, I mean exactly.
Yeah, you have like you just get a T square out and mark it off in the middle of the event, and then raise your T square up to know that you're covering.
Bases to do whilst in a tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see why I can't imagine that would ever be a problem.
And the new one, I guess. The example I've heard recently is you can have the Marguerite Brigade, because the giant scorpion of death from Haqqislam, hiding behind the lamppost and get cover from it, and you can. But so be it. I think that's going to happen, but that's a small price to pay, I think, for having rules that are clean and fast.
Yeah, I mean, line of sight and cover is always like an abstraction in any game anyway, and I would much rather have a rule set that allows for like clear and functional play than a rule set that is like 100% realistic.
Yeah,
and also because it just gets so complicated so quickly. You'll end up with those weird. But then you still have that weird anomaly that you can currently, you can have cover when your guy's like got his toe in smoke.
Yeah, I think towing in terrain is something I'm used to. Like I remember
it's really common
where having your left toe in the forest counted, and even though it's not simulationist, neither is wargaming anyway, and it's a price you pay for having rules that are clean.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I agree with that. I don't see that as being a thing. It's one of the things that's attracted me to it. Like I've watched people play Infinity and chat to them about it, and every time previously they've explained it to me in N3 or N2, I was just like, do you know what? there are other games that are cool that have not that degree of complexity.
I'm conscious though that we are doing more Infinity casts, and whilst when we're doing for other systems, we had some degree of maybe not authority but actual knowledge about it. But we're going to be doing some Infinity chats, and I assume publicising them on some Infinity channels, and we know far less than most of the people about the game.
Oh, like literally nothing. This is I guess all of this should be caveated with things that have attracted me to play the game as a new player, or things that have attracted you to it as a sort of, a relatively new player, and that, it's purely on that experience. We are not in any way like any level of expert, and I completely understand also, like, as you said, I've played games where the rules have changed and I haven't liked it because it wasn't the game I was playing before, and that's obviously for experienced players. If they don't like it, that's perfectly reasonable for them to feel like that.
Yeah,
I guess it's just the side of it is that the changes are something that has attracted me and a number of other people I know to come and play Infinity.
Well, most of your London game groups cover Zeta Cross, right?
Yeah, almost everyone who
How
played.
that?
We're only able to assemble in groups of 6 at the moment, but at the moment, sort of my group 10, something like that. That number of players.
That's pretty good, especially when game groups do a conversion across. It often seeds more people to join as well, doesn't it? And these things grow, gain momentum.
Yeah, like so, and it's it's people that are sort of experienced wargamers and sort of experienced JJ, who was in the finals of the Guild Ball World Championship. Connor, who's painful to admit it, was a good Guild Ball player. Like, there's a number of like sort of people that have been successful in other systems, or are a bit discerning about games.
Should we talk about things we've played then?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, what have you been playing?
So I played sort of 4 games with Ariadna TAC, Tartary Army Corps, basically the Russians.
Oh, cool. I've read Ariadna are bad, but I'm not sure if that's...
I don't know. Let's go back to our previous caveat. I don't know. I think they're cool. Maybe they are. I don't know. Like,
what's their stick? What do they do? What do they have?
So they're very low. So the whole point about that faction is they're like super low tech. So they haven't got any hacking at all. Well, they can have a hacker who's basically a merc who comes along if you want that. So they have got very little flashy kit. They haven't got like many sort of MSV troops at all. They've got a couple of MSV ones. That's about it.
So those are the visors that allow you to see through like smoke and cover and things like that.
I don't think they have anything beyond level 1.
Yeah. So that's the lowest tech version.
Yeah, they have a lot of camouflage, a lot of that, and they're quite cheap. Generally, the line troops are. And their sort of heavy infantry, generally speaking, is like 1 wound. The ones that are 2 wound are literal like big power armor that they clunky and stuff, and they kind of low tech power armor, so they get sort of worse as they get wounded more.
Oh, cool!
Basically, it's a giant Russian robot with a big hammer. So
amazing. That's what you want.
Yeah. So
are they quite Soviet in aesthetic then? Like, what's the models actually?
I mean, a bit. I think the ones coming up are more so because, for example, they've got like a bear soon in space.
Oh, amazing!
But that's not out yet. So, I mean, I was playing kind of the sectoral, although because I'm quite new, I haven't really used the sort of the fire teams or anything else yet. So, mainly I like having armies with a theme anyway.
The fire teams rule seem really good. Like, that seems very powerful.
Yeah,
like, or at least when you're new, it seems like and the sectorals having less options seems like a good way to go as a newer player, because you're not bamboozled by choice.
Plus, in terms of a sort of aesthetics thing, it means you sort of try to tie together by a certain look. While factions do look, sectorals when the factions share similarities, they do look more similar when they're in the same sort. And so I think notable troops of note that I've been using a lot of, antipode packs. So basically, you get your handler, who's a sort of a soldier with an iPad, and you get 3 mad werewolves that basically come along with her.
Amazing.
So basically, it's 4 troops, 3 of which have to be in coherency.
Sorry, Andrew, I'm going to have to interrupt you because it looked like someone on the computer behind you is playing R-Type.
Yeah.
Amazing.
£7 for R-Type on the Nintendo Switch. It's a bargain. I loved R-Type as a kid.
Oh, it was incredible.
Was that the Mega Drive I played? No, Master System, I think it was.
Yeah, I think we must have had it on the Atari ST.
Yeah, that's a great game.
Oh man,
do you remember Altered Beast?
Yeah.
Streets of Rage.
I was playing Streets of Rage 4. Is it on
the new one? Any good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, it's my brother had it on his whatever console box thing. Yeah, everyone's very sexy in it now. That's the main thing. Like, everyone in it is a bit too attractive. It was like when I went to a yoga class in Hackney. Like, everyone there was too beautiful for me to be there, men and women. Like, it was. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got good, like, and actually, similarly, both of them had a really 90s vibe going on. Like, everyone looks really 90s.
Well, I guess Streets of Rage 4, like, it's one of those things that it can't be too different to the old ones, otherwise no one will buy it, 'cause it's selling on pure nostalgia. Then again, it can't be the same game either. It's one of the things, it's got to be different, but the same.
No, it was definitely in, and it sort of nailed that pretty well, like the sort of the vibe of it and the look of it, and then
now. I love Streets of Rage.
Yeah. What were we saying? Antipode packs. So
yes, basically, it's the controller who hasn't got to be with her pack, and the pack's 3 antipodes, basically werewolves they have to be within coherency of each other, and so it gives one order and one irregular order, so that's 2 orders, and basically the pack of antipodes could start camouflaged, and they just hurtle up the board, and they're very cheap. It's quite funny because they have to be camouflaged, and the camouflage has to be the same size as the base. So you camouflage them, but they are literally the only unit in the army with that silhouette.
Yeah, there are a few things.
Who are they?
Who's this going to
Pack
be?
of 3 large circles walking towards you.
Maybe it's my large friend Davy.
But they have to deal with. Basically, they're going to die, but you just sort of shove them down your opponent's throat and make him deal with them because they can super jump over walls and things. So against Dan Best, they were camouflaged and they leapt over some walls and jumped on his sniper who's camouflaged and killed him. Then jumped on his hacker and killed him, and then jumped on the doctor and killed him.
Right.
Jumped around having a great time.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
so are they like close combat units then?
That's what they have basically.
Because I found close combat tricky to execute.
Great at close combat. Like they have got like CC of 20, which means it's not brilliant because generally speaking, things that can do good CC won't have higher than 20, so they can add to their roll.
Because close combat's so spiky anyway, isn't it? Because you're only rolling 1 dice in it.
Yeah, so you're rolling 1 dice. I mean, you've got a pack of 3 people, so if you manage to all base the same person, you're rolling 3 dice.
Okay.
But generally speaking, I think 1 might get discovered and killed before you get to them. But because that's 1 unit, when you ARO them, get an ARO 1 model at the pack.
Yeah.
So the whole pack generates 1 ARO. So basically, some of them might not get to the enemy, or the do, but either way, they're quite cheap, and they can just hurtle forward quite fast. Also, they've got sensor, so they can sort of ping out like a radar and sort of do a fairly easy roll to detect things that camouflaged.
That's pretty good.
It's like a willpower plus 6 roll, anything with 8 inches of them.
That also finds hidden deployment, doesn't it?
Oh, I'm not sure about that. Does it really? That's even better.
Also picked up hidden deployment.
So I kept my rulebook next to the microphone, you see. Because
if you also purchased the expensive rulebook, I have bought the expensive rulebook.
I bought the rulebook, which actually I didn't need to, of course, because it's all free online, but I couldn't avoid it because it's gorgeous. And also, I much prefer looking through the rulebook than the PDF.
It's really, it's much easier to use it as a rulebook than I'd like to use it.
As well.
Yeah, I actually found I read the Fluff book over the weekend, and I found it really useful for actually giving me, because I found it quite hard to distinguish between all the factions as a noob, and reading the Fluff really helped with the. Someone said that
about the factions, about how they all seem the same, but to me, I think they're quite distinct. But I think to a casual observer, they aren't. Until you actually look into it, then they are quite obviously different. Yeah.
I think when you look at it, because obviously a lot of it is like high tech space humans, like and then you read the Fluff, and you're like, oh, okay, you get it. Like they have like quite clear, like it feels like, and this might be a statement that more experienced people would find ridiculous. It feels like there is more like narrative distinction than like visual distinction at the first glance. Obviously, some things look really different. Like the werewolves look pretty different, and a lot of the hack models look quite different. But like a lot of them, I was like, I wouldn't have known which would sit in which. I think just by eyeball.
Bit clearer once you look at it for a little bit longer. But I think if you're a person looking at a shelf for the first time, it's gonna be hard to tell.
But that's the same if you look at a shelf full of 40k.
Generally,
like with a lot of it. So I really liked the Fluff, and I thought that was that also helped me to clarify, like get an idea of like play style and things like that as well.
But yeah, sensor. You're right. Sensor can also detect hidden problems as well, and so they're leaping forward, basically just
finding stuff.
They're so cheap, and they got order efficient because they get an irregular order anyway, and also the generating order, and also their handler has a smoke grenade launcher.
Oh, cool.
So if in doubt, you can just do spec fire and lob grenades, smoke grenades and stuff. And it's just a great little unit, really.
So and fun. That sounds really fun. It sounds like running a group of werewolves at your opponents like that. Sounds like that's a fun thing to do, right?
Yeah, and it's basically so I bought one of those those recently to get delivered because I want more units. I want 2 units in there.
How are they to paint? Paint wise, because they've been. I've really enjoyed painting them. The models.
Infinity is really interesting because the models are both really hard and really easy to paint because the detail of the metal model is absolutely incredible. I don't think it's hyperbole to say they're some of the best metal models I've ever seen detail wise. But at the same time, in some ways, you look at the armor and it's all segmented, but the lines between segments are so small it can be quite daunting to paint. Like unlike 40k where it's all quite clear, crisp. Well, it is crisp, but clear, blocky objects. Whilst someone in Infinity webbing and stuff, and it's really detailed but quite fine lines. So what we're finding is I'm using contrast paint to do the base colour, and then going over it with normal paint for everything else.
Yeah, I've done layers and then army paint to quick shade.
Yeah,
like for similar, like layer, quick shade, and then just and sort of edge highlighting.
So the antipodes, I contrast painted them brown, and then painted them conventionally everywhere else because one thing I'm terrible at painting. I've always been terrible at painting horses and animals. I think all the smooth curves I find really hard to blend.
Well, the brown contrasts are really good as well.
Oh yeah, they're really good.
They are really good. Like so because I've been using I've done the bags in sort of brown for the hack and stuff like that. But I've done the greys. I've done greys and greens. They've been just layer, and then sort of layer, wash, highlight.
The main one contrast I found bad is the purple contrast isn't very good.
Yeah, the purple the purple one's not great. There's one or two other ones I'm trying to remember which weren't brilliant. The white one
I haven't tried that one yet.
Yeah, it's just grey.
The red one's pretty good.
The red ones are good. The green ones are okay. The yellow is good. The yellow's really good.
The yellow painted my time.
Yeah, the yellow's a pain in the arse.
Yeah. So that's them. I also realised in a different game that hacking's a thing when you've got that heavy infantry unit that's hackable, because most of your army isn't hackable because Ariadna have got basically 20th century tech, and then you've got this one hackable heavy infantry that some pesky little nomad uncloaks and then immobilizes it for the whole game. That's basically it.
In one of the games, not the game I played, the game that because we were playing at a friend's house under sort of rule of 6 conditions, and somebody one of the locals, Alex's house, is hacked. John Clements, who was on the last podcast, hacked John's Magariba.
I possessed it.
Yeah, possessed the Maggie and just ripped his entire army to pieces with it. That sounded pretty brutal.
So that's me. So who have you been using?
I've been playing Hack, Vanilla Hack.
So why did you choose them?
Two things. One was I asked John Clemens, aforementioned John Clemens, what the jankiest faction was. So I said, what's the jankiest faction in the game? He said Hack, so I said, well, I'll play them. And I also liked the aesthetic of them. Like, I quite liked the sort of deserty, sort of caliphate-y aesthetic of it. So it gave me some nice bits to sort of eventually, when it took me ages to assemble them, I think not having like any sort of deadline, like not having any events or any particular thing, I find it quite hard. And I've realised, I think we said this in the last podcast, I find it hard to paint without like an event deadline.
Oh right.
So they sat in like a box for like 4 months or 3 months. And then just when we're like, okay, we're going to go and play at someone's house, it's like, right, I've assembled all of them.
Well, yeah. Like also, you wouldn't have any games lined up, were you? Without games lined up, often
I was literally not playing anyone. Yeah, and I just didn't get anything going for it. So now played a few games with it. That's I've then gone and bought a bunch more Hack, and I've sort of started painting them at a reasonable lick by my slow standards. So yes, I'm playing Hack. I'm just playing Vanilla Hack.
Who stood out in your army?
So who have I used so far? I've managed to get Tariq, Captain Islam, killed in every single game, but he's been quite good. The Taureg, which is their infiltrate, their hidden deployment, mimetism 6 unit with sort of some camouflage as well, which is basically just sits, hides, appears, kills stuff, takes all the objectives. That's really good. Basically all thereof, like I think the conclusions I've drawn from it so far is that like anything with long range shooting is usually good. Anything like the bikes, anything with like smoke, any cheap activations with smoke is good.
Yes, you're Kun bikers, right? Is that what they are?
They're amazing.
They're like dirt cheap, aren't they?
They're like 5 points with a chain rifle and a smoke bomb, and they just sort of race around the board, giving you cover, and then they just basically stand within chain rifle range of other units, of enemy units, who then can't move without getting chain rifled. And if they die, they're 5 points. And then and all the off-board deployment, or all the sort of shenanigan stuff, so like the Rajiks who sort of combat drop in, and the what's the Assassins, one of the Assassin units that start the Fridays, that sort of wander around and be like, hello, I'm this, someone think they go like, hello, I'm Bob from accounting, and then they just like
impersonation.
Yeah, and then they're like, I'm going to come, I've got these important files for you, and then they sort of like rip someone's face off. So those are all really good. So I've not, but because I've been playing vanilla, I've not been using fire teams, which do seem like a potent sort of thing they can do. And I've used quite a lot of hackers, but I've not used them very well. I've mostly just used them as like specialists to grab objectives. But I've enjoyed the jank. Like, I've still got like literally no idea what my opponent's army does, other than like, okay, that's a sniper, that's a guy with an HMG, that's a heavy infantry. You know, that very sort of.
I mean, there are a lot of units in the game, right? I mean, I don't know how many there are in the game total, but that's a lot. Like, an awful lot.
Yeah, tons. So I don't feel like I'm anywhere. Like, so I don't even know what my own side does particularly. But I think so. I've still been going for like, I think I'm sort of veering more towards mobility, like off-board deployment stuff, hidden stuff, and then like sort of specialists running around grabbing things and just healing people, because obviously the hack doctors are really good.
Yeah, they just heal better, don't they? They just heal more.
They're +3 to heal, so they're like.
They might actually stand a chance of not just insta-killing whoever they try and heal.
Yeah, they're like it's a 17 or 18. So I had one of them just like literally just following Tarek around with a big bag of bandages.
Here. I mean, like, I love Super Jump. I don't know why, I think it's cool.
Super Jump's amazing.
And it isn't Infinity, it turns out, because it trains everywhere, and you can leap over it.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite funny though, because you think it's like I think like in the 3 game I've gone through like a real like cycle of love hate with Super Jump, because I've been like it's like at first I was like, it's amazing, I can jump over all these things. Then it was sort of, but you're not in cover when you're jumping, so you just get shot. And then I was like, but it's really good at going from like up buildings, and you can fire when you do it.
Yeah.
So that's hilarious, where you can just sort of bunny up and like sort of machine gun everyone.
Yeah, because climbing up buildings is slow.
Yeah, it's real bad. It was real bad. So there's quite a bit of super jumping hacks. They've got, is it Kawarij have super jump? They're like mini Tareks.
Well, yeah, because they're all about their gene therapy, aren't they, and stuff.
They basically like got a lot of like light infantry and a lot of infantry variations, and then quite a lot and good doctors and stuff like that. So they don't seem to be as well kitted out as like Pano or Yujing or anything like that. So they're a bit. So that they don't have quite as much like sweet tech, and they've got like again like not a lot of MS visors. They've got a few units with them.
Looking at their infantry here, the Gulams, right? I mean, I mean, compared to like my attack army, they have so many options for their infantry. Like you can make your light infantry do anything. They've got
the light infantry
files, NCO, hackers, the whole lot. Number 2,
and they've got really good like and also like boarding shotguns are amazing. That's the other thing. Like turns out like big modifiers feel like are really good. Like the boarding shotguns are crazy good.
Well, every single Gulam has a light shotgun underneath his rifle.
Yeah, so they're good. The light shotguns are good, but the boarding shotguns are crazy because they're like 1 more damage, but they're armor piercing.
Yeah,
so you just
+6 to hit.
Yeah, just stand next to something. Yeah, so you sort of drop guys in off board, stand next to them, to hope to hit them. So that seems good. And obviously the Gulam fire teams do look like they would be real strong, because you can then also, like, when you look at the fire team composition, you can put like Tarek and some of the other characters into those fire teams.
Yeah, so do you think it tends to be, this is going into quite asking my tactics from both of us are clueless, do you think it tends to be like 1 nails dude and 4 cheerleaders, so he gets all the bonuses from the cheerleaders and then he goes to town?
I don't know, it seems like so let's see, or like 1 or 2. It seems like the ones I've seen people play is like 1 or 2 really powerful weapons.
A machine gun dude and a missile launcher dude for my 2 different purposes, and then the other 3 dudes with the rifles just to buff them basically. Yeah,
like a doctor just sitting prone, next to all of them, being like, I'll fix you. Yeah, but seems like some combination of like HMG, missile launcher, or sniper, like 2 out of those 3, and then some other stuff, and a doctor and some other stuff seems like. So I've been trying to work out how you
weapon or something explosive to do with armor seems like a big deal.
Yeah, like how, and so that's been a thing I've been trying to work out. How do you deal with them then? Do you need to drop units in? But because it feels like at least if you degrade the fire team a little bit, then it's because losing that, they have that +3 to hit when they're 5 strong.
And +1 burst when they're smaller than that, isn't it?
Yeah, +1 burst when you're 3 strong, +3 to hit when you're 5 strong, isn't it? Yeah. So, except for, is it Spiral? The Spiral faction, they have it. I think they had this, and listener, correct us if we're talking absolute gobbledygook, or totally wrong. I think when I played against them, their 3-people teams had the benefits of a +5.
Well, that's going far beyond my pay grade now.
Yeah, that's high. That's it. Like, yeah. So that, but yeah, so it's, and I think that's like the level it's at the moment, though, isn't it? It's like, oh, that's fun. Oh, that thing seems fun.
I had a lot of fun with them using a. Goodness, I forgot what they're called now. This is great. This is great radio here. Once again, this is well prepared, singled out. Well, welcome to the podcast where I halfway through it. Really good Spetsnaz. So Russian light infantry, TAC light infantry, and they can parachute it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
with a shotgun, and they have grenades. So I parachuted in behind a sniper who's on a tower, and just spec-fired grenades over a building at them.
Yeah.
So I think spec-fired grenades seem a good way of dealing with fire teams, right? You don't go near them, and it's not very accurate, but you just do it a couple of times and then just pick them off.
Eventually, you'll get there. Yeah, it feels like
because they're so powerful that breaking that team in bits.
Yeah, it seems like helpful. So that's the sort of like basics. I was trying to think of what my big conclusions about it were after like 4 games. I think they were like range is good. Like any sort of like you can't see where you don't know where I'm deploying or I can deploy wherever I want is really good. Fire teams are really good. And then like sort of mobility buffs, like things like super jump and climbing plus seem super helpful, and big modifiers, like anything with big modifiers.
I think just choosing your range bands and making sure that you deploy correctly and that you kind of have a variety of range bands and you know where they are. It's quite a big deal.
Yeah, I've got no idea about that at the moment. I'm working on the assumption that at least with Hack you can work on the assumption that like everything has something that's good at 8 inches. Like as long as it's standing, and just lots of shotguns and nano pulsars and things like that.
So you've been playing 300 points.
I tend to always try and play like full points games when I'm learning them, just because you get to use more models and you have a bit more like little points games are cool, but like when you're new, you're kind of bad. So like, I mean, I'm at the best times you'd be bad, but like I find that like, if you're playing and you're new, it's quite easy to lose so much stuff that you don't really find anything out. Yeah. Whereas at least if you're playing 300 points, like, yeah, you can get wrecked, but you probably get to play with some of your toys and understand what they do.
Have you always hit the 15 order cap?
No, I've been sort of coming in about, I think, around about 11, 12 and 2 irregulars.
Okay.
So I've not hit the 15. I think I've got a list that hits 15, but I didn't have the models for it. And also I've been sort of going by I've been playing not like really expensive models, so I've been playing like Tarek and at least one Janissary in every game.
Quite pricey, isn't he?
Well, also like learning to play it, so it's like I quite often just going for the like I'll take some sort of Titan-y thing because it's like knowing that I have one good model and that I have to try and get as much out of that as possible is quite an easy way to learn. Like it simplifies it a bit.
So you're going to go for sectoral, you think?
I might try Rama Task Force. Yeah, the sectoral. They seem more like they're the hack one. They're the hack task force. They're not the janky. They're the less janky one. Less jank, more tank.
Less jank.
Less jank than Assassins, which is the other one, which is like seems like all the jank. But JJ, one of the locals, has been playing Assassins, so we're trying to not all play the same thing because there's actually randomly ended up being 3 hack players.
Oh, okay.
Amongst my little group, so it's some attempt to I mean, the advantage is one of them is John, who has seems to have every model in the game. I guess
sectorals can be quite different to each other.
Yeah. The Assassin's sectoral seem really different to the Rama sectoral. Like the Assassins have all the, have Fridays and a lot of like sort of lot more like random deployment stuff. Whereas the Rama don't have them, and they don't have the Rajiks or the combat drops as well. The Rama I think they're only real hidden. They've got a few hidden deployment options, but nothing much, nowhere near as much as Assassins. But they have some. I think their fire teams can be a bit meatier.
Okay, that's interesting. It does seem to me that I initially assumed that sectorals would have a lot more crossover. But it's possible to have sectoral for an army and have practically nothing that can move across into another army.
Really different. Yeah, they're really different to each other. Yeah, definitely.
It's a good way of doing it, really, because it means basically you have multiple factions rather than one faction that gets everything. I guess you can do that with vanilla, but I guess if you're going to have vanilla, you have to know what to do with it, because you have to know what's worth taking and what's worth sacrificing the links.
Yeah, the issue I found with running vanilla definitely is just analysis paralysis, because there's so many different things. Like, I've basically been writing sort of 5-6 lists a day. Like, oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this if I only had thousands of pounds to buy models with.
How much do you have so far, models wise?
Quite a few. I think I just got another box today, and I've got another box of stuff coming. So I think probably about. I think once it all turns up, probably in the 30 or 40 model region.
That's probably enough for a faction, right?
Oh, easily. Yeah, it's too much for a faction. It doesn't give me everything in the faction, but it gives me easily enough.
Yeah, I haven't bought everything for TAC, but I bought close to everything now, and so that's pretty much done. But it's quite nice. Quite nice. There's a lot of models to get, but not so many that you can't get them.
No, it's kind of nice at the moment to splurge a bit and have a project and stuff like that. And we were sort of chatting a bit about it in the local group in comparison to Guild Ball, for what that's that having that variation of models and the list building sort of element to it is really nice as well.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting also having to take into account scenarios like some of my lists at first didn't have many sort of button pushes in it.
Yeah, same. The first list I ran had very few specialists in it, and I just got destroyed on the scenario.
I guess it'll be interesting to see when they release a new tournament pack, which they'll be releasing fairly soon from what I hear.
Is that right?
Yeah, relatively soon. Heard from other podcasting, heard it on White Noise, which is a podcast for this. And basically, yeah, because obviously their sort of tournament packs, of course, change each year.
Oh, do they? I didn't know that.
They have every year a different season number.
Oh, okay, cool.
And they have a bunch of scenarios in that. So it'll be interesting seeing how they change it for N4, and also, of course, whether they make it, quite sort of button pushing heavy or kill heavy or whatever, really.
Yeah, because I guess that will shape what people. I think I would go to a little local tournament, but I don't feel like I would play proper tournaments.
You say that in a year's time you'll be in Spain.
Yeah. I'm trying to restrain my inner overly obsessive and competitive streak. It's only taken me to countries I've been to for board games now, probably 8-9 countries to play board games in so far. So it's
So how many factions you played against then? You played against Pano, I see.
Played against Pano, played against Spiral, played against Yu Jing, and played the Mirror.
Who was the the most favourite and least favourite faction to fight against?
I enjoyed all. The thing is, I didn't know enough about any of them. I got windmill slammed by Pano, just because that was just didn't know what anything did, and it turned out tons of HMGs just wrecked me.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you? What have you played against?
Nomads and O12.
Okay.
Basically, is it?
So quite different. Yeah. Which of those did you prefer?
Nomads have a lot of hacking in them, which scares me because they have magical spells that can make me not move anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's probably in some ways the same. I don't probably know the factions that well yet. O12 seem just, to my eyes, pretty generic in terms of they just the kind of good dudes in armor.
Yeah, they're the sort of nice. They're the sort of good cops, aren't they?
I'm not sure they're good, but they certainly are cops. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Martin's painting up the models right now for them, and
is he? Okay.
The Star Armada stuff, and it's got Judge Dredd and motorcycle sort of stuff, and the big trench coats and things.
Yeah, they've got cool models. Again, they look really good.
They look really good. I love motorcycles in the game. I want to have more motorcycles.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing the jizz bikes. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, in TAC I've got a doctor on a motorcycle with a fire axe.
Oh, okay.
I don't care what is. A doctor is okay, but it's got a fire axe on a bike, which is obviously a great combination to have.
That feels like enough. Yeah. What does the fire axe do?
Axe.
Oh, okay. It's literally a flaming axe. I didn't know if it was some sort of ranged thing or not.
No. But it's a doctor on a bike, so I guess in theory you have him behind your troops, and then he kind of races around pushing buttons or trying to heal people.
That does seem really helpful, actually.
Because doctors have to base someone, don't they, to do their main skill? Because you can shoot someone with a medikit, but it's more risky, isn't it?
Yeah, you just miss or kill them, basically, don't you?
Yeah. Well, you have to hit, then you have to roll, don't you?
Yeah. But whether it's in base...
They have to roll their physique, don't they? But doctor rolls their willpower, which is generally higher.
Generally, yeah. And especially playing hack, it's always higher.
Also, it's got smoke grenade launch as well on a bike. And again, smoke launchers on bikes seem just great.
I love smoke. I love smoke grenades and smoke launchers and all that. Seems excellent. Like that sort of movement obscuration stuff.
Well, in a game where if you can get seen, you can get shot off the board.
Yeah, exactly. It seems real helpful.
Yeah, really helpful. Yeah.
So I think we're hoping to get some more expert people on to talk sort of properly about Infinity a bit, aren't we?
So we're absolutely clueless. I think we games each time and talk about how.
Yeah, exactly, and sort of getting a handle on it and what list running. But we I know a few people who are fairly involved in the Infinity scene, so hopefully some of them will be joining us as guests, and we'll maybe do some sort of faction rundowns and stuff like that. But I think the aim is to keep it more noob focused for now, isn't it?
It's fortunate because we can't really offer anything expert.
Yeah, we can't offer any searing insight into this at all. Like
I think those bases are covered anyway. But looking at the podcast market for Infinity, I think that's been covered by everybody else already. So I think.
I would imagine, yeah.
Games been running for sort of 15 years. I think it's probably got.
Yeah. We'll pitch ourselves as the really experienced, super knowledgeable.
I'm sure
like these are 10 things. 10 things you must take in Infinity: models, guns,
D20s.
Yeah, D20s. Something to measure with, terrain.
Have you
5 things.
For any fancy tokens yet?
I haven't splurged on the fancy tokens yet. No, I've been recycling some of the old epic tokens actually.
What?
Just like little, they've got quite generic. I've got quite generic little tokens for epic, like little lightning bolts and skulls and stuff like that. So and sort of order dice, which overlap. Which Charles Nurser made. So I've been using those mostly and borrowing bits from people. I will need to splurge on some fancy tokens at some point.
I bought a while ago, a little. I'm showing this on the webcam now. It was great for a podcast.
I'll describe it. Andrew is holding up. I don't even know what he's holding up. It looks like a stapler. I think, listener, I think Andrew's bought a stapler to play Infinity with.
It's basically a 2-inch, inch wide hole punch.
That's clever.
Basically, it punches holes the exact width of the tokens because you can get the Infinity tokens on PDFs online from the core website, and you can buy for Amazon 1-inch epoxy stickers that have adhesive.
Oh, that's clever!
Like plastic bubbles.
Yeah.
You use this to punch them out, and then you stick them on the stickers.
Job done.
Plastic token.
That's very clever.
Yeah, it's a little 1-inch hole punch from Amazon for like maybe not even that. And the epoxy, often called bottle caps, but epoxy stickers are about £100 for tenner. No,
oh wow!
Sorry, that's wrong. 100, yeah.
10 for £100.
Yeah. So, yes. That's right.
100 for £10, listener. It's a good thing you don't teach a subject that involves maths, Andrew.
Yeah.
I'm
making my own really right now.
That's a good idea.
To make tokens that are larger than an inch, but
then you can get wrecked.
Yeah, basically.
Just don't use them. Just don't use anything that's anything big.
Yeah, simple.
What tokens are larger than an inch?
Well, like camouflage tokens mainly, I guess, for my wolves.
For the faction that you're running?
Yeah, but
so if you run any other faction, can you not just put an inch wide sticker on a big plastic base?
Yeah, I'll probably just print them out some bases or something, because you can get really fancy tokens and stuff. Like Art of War does really nice ones.
Yeah, I have seen some real nice looking ones, but I think I'm not sure enough what I need yet.
Yeah, and also because Infinity has like 1 billion different tokens and states.
Yeah,
you only want to buy the ones you need.
Yeah, I don't want to go and buy all of them.
There's no point. You probably should more than an army to buy all of them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, I think we've done about Infinity for a while now. That's pretty good.
I think that's the exhausted. Our well has run dry on Infinity. But we'll be back to talk about it more when we know what we're doing more, and we'll talk more about Manticore War as well. I think
Manticore War, yeah, exactly right.
Once that arrives, because that's the other one that's picked up quite a lot of interest locally.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I've seen some clips recently of some of the resin models.
Oh, those big ships!
And they're absolutely superb.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the big ships and the orc ship made of fists, like the SS Fistifus or whatever it's going to be called.
The USS Fisticus.
The USS Fistifus.
I'm trying to think of some of the sort of new romantic based games now.
Oh, it's specifically new romantic based games, not.
I think there's some things to be taken by Ultravox.
Yeah, some sort
One
of.
set
I
in
think some
Vienna.
sort. Yeah, that's you could cross it over with the film The Third Man. I think you should cross all Vienna themed things into one board game. One what would it be? Like I think it would be I think it would be a build your own adventure book.
Oh yeah,
called All Vienna.
we are wasted on this. We should be games designers, really.
Yeah, we should be. How about a singing themed dungeon crawler with that seems like a route to success that we can promote by creating multiple social media accounts for people who actually work for the company making it. Who would do a thing like that? What other good games could it be?
You could have a big band based dungeon crawler called Orchestral Moves in the Dark.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. It's not big band though, is it? It's just orchestra themed. That's the trouble.
Well, yeah, but I didn't use the same words in the description.
I know you didn't. I know. I'm just thinking. It's like, look, I'm not saying there's no bad ideas in this situation, but like some of yours need working on. Like we can't all have immediately come off the bat with things like Purple Rain, so REIGN. What else could there be? I'm trying to think of other types of game now. There must be some sort of ships themed game.
It's going to get harder and harder now. Hopefully, I'll just run out of ideas and I'll just pan this out to the end tune. So trying to find more ideas.
What about you could have a share themed battleships game? Can you? What's the one where she sits on the destroyer and is singing as she's sitting on the big cannon? What? It's a famous share video where she is on a destroyer.
I'm not familiar.
Hang on. Yeah. You come up with more good ideas while I just Google.
I was googling share, and the first thing came up on Google was share on a battleship.
There you go. The song's really famous.
If I could turn back time.
Yeah.
Oh, that song.
There you go. Yeah, it could be. There you go. So that could be a. Doesn't it pun easily?
Time, so obviously, be like a Quantum Leap based.
Yeah. Quantum Leap. Yeah, a share themed Quantum Leap based. Actually, a Quantum Leap based card game could be quite good.
Where Sam Beckett jumps into share.
Well, you just have a list of people that you've jumped into. Yeah, Sam Beckett has jumped into Share, and they've a perfect opening montage. He's on the cannon of the battleship, singing "If I Could Turn Back Time" in a pair of ripped fishnet stockings.
I mean, and then, really.
Yeah, and then does that thing where he's like, they come in and say, try to think what it would be. Share the court case against Sonny has gone through, and Sam just looks around and is like, what? Oh boy, what have I done?
Is that his voice? That's
how he speaks, yeah. Hi, I'm Sam. This week on Quantum Leap. Did you ever see the last episode of Quantum Leap?
I did. I actually know quite a lot about Quantum Leap. I love Quantum Leap, yeah.
It's very melancholy.
Well, it wasn't even meant to be. It wasn't meant to be the end to it. They were meant to have that going on later on into the new season, and then right at the end, I think either as they were filming it or when they were editing it, they were told they were going to get another season, and so the writer just went, "Yeah, I didn't get home."
Just added it.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was one of the things that got cancelled at the end. It wasn't meant to be that.
Okay, yeah. There's very few TV shows that have a satisfying resolution.
Breaking Bad.
I've never watched it to the end. I've only watched the first 3 series.
Yesterday we finished watching The Good Place. That's a good ending to it.
I've not seen that.
It's very good. 4 seasons, you see, then it's done.
Yeah, because that was the trouble with Parks and Rec, wasn't it? Went on too long. They all became successful. This is the trouble with sitcoms in America. They all become successful, and they're often
good throughout the way.
Oh, the last series was pretty bad. Last series was really ropey.
I was too much in love with it not to care.
But at least 5 or 6 strong series. Yeah.
How about think of other things that had a Battlestar Galactica had an ending?
The Sopranos. The Sopranos has a good ending.
Doesn't it just cut out halfway through a scene?
Yeah. I think that the implication being he had a heart attack.
Lost.
Pass.
Had an ending.
Did anyone watch that after the first? That's like Heroes. Like no one watched that after the first series. Surely.
The problem with those programs was they didn't have any idea where it was going, so they went, "Oh, it's gonna be a polar bear in it."
Yeah, it's all elevator pitch, isn't it? And
it's also they're all operating one season at a time, and they don't really make it through. They just kind of jump into it. This is going off a tangent, isn't it?
I know, but at least it also feels like pots and kettles to be like these people have no idea what they're doing, and they're just going from episode to episode, randomly trying to desperately create content that amuses them in some way, in the vain hope that someone will think there's any sort of logic or reason behind it.
If you like this, join the Patreon.
Oh, let's do the Patreon advert. Yeah, I think the Patreon advert should definitely come in now.
Do you have too much money? Do you have no idea what to spend it on? In that case, send it to me, Beard. But I don't like giving out emails or telling people where I live. So instead, give it to Singled Out. Yes, that'll do. Singled Out. That'll do.
There you are. That was a shilling's money.
Ah, that was good. That was good. That was good.
The joy of editing there. You heard Beard talking about us for a little minute
Yeah. And the Patreon adverts are still fine. It's not like they say like
there.
anything explicitly about Guild Ball. As long as they don't mention Jason, that's kind of funny.
Jason.
As long as they still get them to make some more ones that don't mention Jason.
Yeah. I think we'll fade to black now. I think.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Say goodbye.
Oh, we're doing a farewell, adieu, auf Wiedersehen.